it's Angel Vane, and this is episode 97 of My Author's Diary. I am an author of crime thrillers for women, and every week I take you through the ups and downs that I go through as I try to write and publish new books. So don't forget to follow me or subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I feel like you haven't, because I look at my subscriber numbers and I don't see you in that number, so go ahead and click subscribe. Okay. So last week I was in a bit of a predicament because I had, too much hubris and thought that I could just crank through my new novel that I'm working on right now, The Christmas Hero, and just stay right on track, right? And I got so far behind. And so the goal for this past week was to try to catch back up so that I could still meet my deadline of getting that first draft done by April 25th. And so I had to be at the 75% mark by tomorrow, which is April 18th, Sunday, April 18th. I'm doing this, recording this video on the 17th of April, Saturday. And I can tell you right now, being at 75%, that's having gone all the way through Act 2B. I can tell you right now, she ain't gonna get it like at all. I am so far away from being at 75% done with this book, but there are some positives. I had every intention of really trying to write 2 scenes a day because again, so just to back up, so I plotted out basically around 8 scenes per act for this novel so that it would be around 60,000 words. And I know that I can write 8 scenes in a week. That I can do. And so to catch back up, because I was only at the 25% mark at this time last week, I had to kind of double my efforts, right? And I started off the week so good. I was cranking through. I was hitting 2 scenes a day. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to catch up. And I was a blazing, and I was a typing, and I was a blazing, and a writing, and a typing. Okay, so... And then I had a snag. I had 2 scenes that, were not easy to write. And they kind of took multiple days each, and each had their own issue. So the first one, and I don't know about other authors out there, but it really takes a lot of effort from me to write a sex scene, right? So I write steamy romance. I'm not one of those that puts a ton of sex scenes in my books. So I would say, when I think about the 4-act structure, typically I have about 3 sex scenes in the book. Sometimes just 2, but for the most part, I try to get 3 in there. But the rest of it, I got too much plot stuff going on to be, taking up more time with some sex scenes. So, so I hit the second sex scene that's in the book. And literally, and y'all know I don't believe in writer's block, right? But I was like, what am I going to make them do this time? And I'm thinking back on, I have 4 books written now with, about 2 to 3 sex scenes in them each. And I'm like, well, I don't want, because I don't want to be one of those authors. And I've read authors who do this, right? And so you start reading their book. And so you get to it and you're like, you're just doing the same old stuff, same pattern, same, the same steps in the same order. Every sex scene is just identical, right? And you're just kind of and then you get to the next one, you're like, right? Because the excitement and the thrill is gone from reading it. And so I really didn't want to fall into that trap. So I was really struggling, trying to figure out, okay, so what's new and different that I haven't made Julian and Mina do yet, right? And, so I switched up the setting, and then that didn't get me all the way there. And so it really is a choreography, right? So I had to kind of work out the choreography of, okay, well, what are they going to actually tackle this time, and in what order, and how am I going to segue? And that took a lot of time. So I probably spent about 2.5 days on that one, which I wanted to get it right. And I also wanted to really convey not just the sexual aspect of it, but the intimacy that exists between Julian and Mina, and the romance, and kind of make it romantic and show the connection that they had. And so it is a longer scene than what I would normally write, but I really want to pour all of that into it. So that took some time. And then the scene right after that deals with PTSD. And so I was like, yeah, this is not going to be a quick scene to write. So to give you guys some background, The Christmas Hero will be a standalone novel. So you don't need to read any of the previous Hero in Paradise books, the 4 books in that series that all feature Julian and Mina, to read The Christmas Hero. But there are things that Mina went through in those books that are very relevant to her experiences in The Christmas Hero. So if you've read those, and this is maybe a little bit of a spoiler alert, but not really. Mina is prone to being kidnapped. Like, she got kidnapped a lot in the series, and she was in life or death situations quite frequently in the series. And so, really start to think about, when I was building out The Christmas Hero and kind of plotting that out, okay, well, what's something new and different that I can get, for her? Because, like, she's been kidnapped, she's been held hostage, she's been shot at, she's been almost killed. It's like, so I've already put her through a lot of that stuff, and I wanted to do something new and different. And I looked back on all of the crap that I had put her through, and I was like, maybe she thinks she's okay handling all that stuff, but maybe she's not really. And what if I did a romantic suspense book that really brought in kind of the threat from within, like your own internal threat that you think is something external, but it's actually something that's internal. So that's something that I really want to delve into. And to even just getting prepared for writing the Hero in Paradise series, I used to listen to all of these Navy SEAL podcasts by true members of the Navy. And that's the first time, I really start to hear them talk about PTSD and then also post-traumatic growth, right? And so post-traumatic growth is kind of the opposite of PTSD, when you go through something that's very, very traumatic, but it actually helps you to grow and change and do something more productive and positive. And actually, some people go through the situations and they end up wanting to basically go through more experiences where they can actually make a bigger difference and a bigger impact, and it actually motivates them to do more. And then sometimes you go through situations where it's more negative and it's more PTSD, and it's a struggle to deal with what you've gone through. And so when I thought about, as I was writing Hero in Paradise, I was like, yeah, I got 2 people and they've been through some tough stuff, but they end up more on the post-traumatic growth end of the spectrum than the post-traumatic stress end of the spectrum. And so because I didn't take them through that, Julian a little bit, but it's more so off camera, off scene, off camera, like it's a movie. But one day it might be. So but yeah, before the story begins, I kind of talk about how he did sink into really the depths of his guilt and being mired down with survivor's guilt and some of the things that he had done, and really went to a very, very dark place. But that happened before the start of that series. And so so I didn't really deal with PTSD or anything like that in the Hero in Paradise series. And so that's something that I kind of want to tackle with the Christmas Hero, because again, I wanted to give them a new obstacle, something new and different than what I had given them in the 4 books of that series. So it'll be fresh, new, and different for people who have maybe read all of those books. So fast forward to now. Now I got to write PTSD scene, and I'm like, she don't know nothing about PTSD. Not really, right? So I got focused and said, you got to do some research on this. You got to research what truly are the symptoms, what are the issues, what do people, how does it manifest itself when it is developing? And so I really had to educate myself on this type of mental illness, mental health challenge that people face. And I started to get a little worried, because when you're dealing with something like that, that's a serious issue that people actually deal with on a day in and day out basis, and they struggle with, you want to respect it, right? I don't want to write something that is glib or flip or anything like that, or really glosses over it or brushes past it, and just where people would read and be like, you know what, you really shouldn't have gone there. Why'd you tackle something serious like that and just do such a terrible job? So I didn't want to be in that situation. And so, of course, I like to look at my inspiration, which y'all should know, but maybe you forgot. I love soap operas. I love General Hospital. Let me reframe that. I love General Hospital. And I thought back, okay, well, General Hospital did a PTSD storyline with one of my favorite characters, Dante Falconeri. Like, I love Dante. Like, I love him so much. And, you know, he went through a very difficult situation. He was going undercover, and he really just got sucked into that world and couldn't drag himself out of it. And he was struggling with PTSD on top of being brainwashed. Okay? And so I started to tap back into, okay, well, how is General Hospital dealing with this and doing it in a way that comes across as respectful, accurate? I would think it comes off as realistic to me as someone who doesn't really know all the details of it. I don't know, some other people may, you know, differ or think differently about that. But yeah, so I thought back about Dante and kind of what he experienced, how it manifested, and how the soap opera dealt with it. And I said, you know what, I think I can do this. So I started to do more research, you know, kind of nailed down, okay, what symptoms do I want Mina to start to manifest? And then I really had to try to decide, okay, well, how much am I going to dig into this? Because I am not a medical professional, and I do not want to put something in my book that is erroneous around how these things get dealt with and treated. And so what I really settled upon is that I need to deal with it from the perspective of, this is a woman who does not realize that what she's grappling with and how she might engage and interact and react to it, right? And those reactions can run the gamut. And when it comes down to, okay, well, when she needs treatment and how she's going to work her way out of that, I'm not going to go into a bunch of details around that because I'm not a medical professional, right? But I'm going to do a little bit just to show that, yes, she's going to actually get help for what she's dealing with. But I really want to deal with that culmination of the recognition of, okay, I actually can't handle what I've been through, and it is manifesting itself, and this manifestation is in the form of PTSD, and how she feels about it, how she reacts to it, what other actions she takes, what behavior she does because of that, and how that can muddy the waters of the story before she finally gets help for her PTSD. So that take about a day of going through and trying to figure out, okay, exactly how, because you know, I had my plot, but then when I hit that scene, I was like, you actually have not thought through well enough, how are you actually going to write this piece of it? And so I had to take a pause, take a time out, and figure that out. And now that I have it settled, it doesn't wreck anything that I had in my plot, but a lot of the internal narrative, the internal feelings that Mina is having, it helped to give a lot better structure to that as I take her through the rest of the stuff that she has to go through in the latter half of the book. So I feel really good about kind of solving those issues with my story, but yeah, that stopped me from being able to double my efforts this week. So I literally just wrote one act. I wrote all of Act 2A, which to me, you know, positive, right? That's still very positive because it still shows me that I can write 8 or 9 scenes a week, and which are like 8 or 9 chapters for me. So, and I can write one act per week. And so that is a really positive, and I feel really good about the direction that the story is taking, and everything that I've written so far, I'm pretty proud of right now. And I think I'm doing good justice to the plot and the story that I had in my mind and getting it written on paper. But that means I probably won't meet my April 25th deadline, which is okay. So I just have to be okay with that. And you know, they say the first thing is acceptance and admitting it, right? So admit that it's highly unlikely that I'm going to meet my original deadline of April 25th. And then the next thing that I want to focus on is, okay, now that I have fully, you know, in my head feel like I can write an act a week, then that means I should only be 1 week behind, and I should be able to do that by the end of the first week of May. So that is now my target, is to make sure that I get done by the end of the first week of May. I'm not going to try to kill myself to write double time to still try to hit that April 25th deadline. And why? Because she got to go into the office, back to work in the office for my day job starting on Monday. So there's no more working from home for Angel Vane. But But really, I don't care. Like, I thought I would care. Like, I thought I'd be like, oh, I gotta go back to work. Yeah, don't care. I mean, it is what it is, because I feel like I get my house back, right? So it's like my house for over a year has been a work zone, and I have work areas that like don't feel like home to me no more. And now if I can take all of that and shift it back to the office, when I finally get home, I can be like, oh, I'm in my sanctuary. Okay, so, and I can just kind of eradicate this place of all the kind of work like cooties that infiltrated my house over the past year. So yeah, no issue with going back to work, but I do want to be realistic that if I think I can still knock out my 8 scenes next week to get done with Act 2B, but I am not trying to be ambitious to double that up to finish the whole novel by April 25th. So I'm just going to be realistic. I'm going to extend my deadline to the end of the first week of May and just roll with that. So that's where I am so far. Still feeling good, still cranking out the Christmas Hero. Still excited. I know I haven't talked about this much, but the Unexpected Hero did launch this week. So excited. I have a few of the reviews trickling in, and they are so positive. I had one reviewer basically say, oh, each book just got better and better and better, and that the last book is the best. And that was my goal. And I said to myself, okay, Angel, you feel this way, and then one stranger who you did not pay, you do not know, also feels this way. Psh, winner. I feel like a winner. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Yeah, so I'm really proud of that series, because it really conveyed the story exactly how I wanted to, and that's big for me, right? Because at this point, I'm so far from being a full-time author and making enough money to like quit the day job, and that's okay as long as I'm continuing to put out novels that I am proud of. Like, that brings me so much joy. Like, it really does. And I love writing. I think it's just so much fun, and I love putting out my stories, the things that percolate up here, and getting it on paper, and then other people reading it, and then they like it. Like, what? You like what I wrote? I like it too. Okay, so that's it. That's it for this week. If you want to continue to keep up with me and all the ups and downs that I go through as I try to write and publish new books, click the subscribe button. Then don't forget to click that little silver bell so you won't miss when I'm doing a video, and I will see you next time.